I'm sorry, the work session.
I don't want to have you thrown out for interrupting. All right. Welcome to all of our guests. I see Commissioner Pownell, welcome today, and Commissioner Dave Carmichael, and Dallas City Councilman Jim Henson. I think that's all of the elected officials. Proud to have you here. First item of business will be the approval of minutes from the April 16th meeting. You received a copy of those. Did anybody note any errors or omissions? Nope. I have a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second. Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is the approval of the financial statement. You received a copy of that. Anybody note any errors or have any questions on that statement? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I make a motion.
Have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously, and it is approved. Move into reports and updates. The first one will be the report on the Atlanta Film Studios. Paul McKenna.
We are in the second month of filming with our current tenant, which is, as I think all of you are aware, a competition show similar to The Biggest Loser or America's Got Talent or what have you. They are scheduled to wrap up shooting the first week in June. They may need to extend a little bit beyond that, but currently they're trying to catch their schedule back up so that they don't have to extend their time frame. Have seen some photos from the shoot, which are very, very impressive for what they've done inside the facility there. So looking forward to seeing that show on TV, see how it turns out. You do have a hold report in your backup documentation. Should look like this with some lines running across the page. What we have currently are 5 holds, 3 of which start in July, 1 in August, and 1 in September. The shortest hold is for 2 months, and the longest hold is for a year. So obviously we would prefer to have the year versus the 2 months, but we'll see how this works out as we move forward. The way the schedules line up, we could actually do both of those because they don't actually overlap. So in a perfect world, that would be what we would take. These are a variety of shows. Some of them are feature films and some of them are TV shows. So the word is getting out, I think, about the success of the facility, both with 42 on the feature film side and with the current reality TV show competition. So we are getting a lot of activity right now at the studio. A lot of folks wanting to come in and see while it's actually operating. So we have been doing a lot of site visits with directors and producers the last few weeks. Any questions on the hold report or the current lease?
All right. Move to the update on the Park and Commerce Park.
We have submitted the final proposal to the state on Project Ventus, which is the second project, hopefully, to go into the Park and Commerce Park. We are expecting an answer back within the next couple of weeks on that proposal. We are, of course, in the final group of 3 that are being entertained by the company. We are the final location in the state of Georgia, so we don't have any other competition in the state of Georgia, but the other 2 sites are in other states. Other than that, we're doing punch list work on the previous contracts to make sure that all of our grassing and everything is up to speed, and we don't have any issues with any erosion control or anything like that. If anybody's got any questions on the commercial part, I'm glad to address those.
Reports from Interroll, are they happy?
Interroll's extremely happy. They're up and operating and don't seem to have any problems or concerns of any kind. One thing I will mention is we have contracted to do some additional consulting work out at the park. What we're specifically trying to do is get a better handle on how much rock is in different locations in the remaining portion of the park, so that we so that we don't have any surprises with, when new projects come along as to how much rock that we've got to move in there to facilitate a new facility. So we are having some additional geotechnical work done. We're also having an archaeological background done and a ecological background done. The reason for doing the latter two is so that our site can be placed on the Georgia Department of Economic Development's what they call a grad site, which are considered to be shovel-ready sites. In order to qualify to be on the grad site, you have to have had those archaeological, geological, and ecological, too many logicals. You have to have had all that done in order to be placed on the grad site. So that's what we are doing right now, working to get placed on that site. There are only 43 sites statewide that qualify as grad, so it puts us in a pretty small group of industrial sites statewide. Any questions on that?
And that also helps on the turnaround for these projects of regional significance, both on the Department of Economic Development and the infrastructure funding to be on that list. Any other questions on the Paulding Commerce Park? Update on the Dallas Industrial Park?
The only thing new in the Dallas Industrial Park is, of course, we're finished up with our land swap, I guess, before last month's meeting. So we are having some boundary work done on the additional 9.92 acres to make sure that we have very well-defined boundary lines. Those boundary lines, as you know, that 10 acres was cut out of a larger tract of property, so there were no previously existing pins or property line locations. So we're having those property lines marked and the pins placed so that we are all 100% certain exactly where our property boundaries are. The next step we will take is to get an application into the city of Dallas for rezoning so that property can be zoned consistent with the remaining part of the park. And in order to do that, we'll need to get a little bit of survey work done. So we'll be working on those two things between now and next month.
Any questions on the Dallas Industrial Park? Report from the West Georgia Joint Development Authority, Mr. Shield.
Nothing new to report. The quarterly meeting scheduled for tomorrow has been postponed, so nothing new.
All right. Report from the Chamber, Ms. Wright.
Well, at our June 5th Georgia Power Luncheon, we will be having a speaker from the Atlanta Braves to discuss their move to Cobb and how that will affect the regional, affect Paulding in the region. Our Leadership Paulding Class 24 is graduating this Thursday, and I'm so proud. So anyway, we're excited about that and are making plans for our Leadership Paulding Class 25 and our anniversary on that. So that's going through the summer, and that's all.
Now, you sure Jeannie's gonna graduate?
With honors.
Jeannie is gonna graduate.
She
I haven't missed a day.
She hadn't written anything ugly on her senior picture, nothing like that?
No, it's been a great, great class. We're excited about it, so.
All right. Report from the Paulding Economic Development Organization, Jamie Gilbert.
Thank you. Just a couple of quick project updates for y'all. We are working right now with two existing industry projects, both down in the Hiram area. These are projects that are significant in terms of new job creation. The first one is a company located down in the Rosedale Drive area. They currently have 90 employees. With the expansion that's being planned, they could increase that number as up to 130 employees. The other project has 60 employees and could increase to 90. With both of these projects, however, if we cannot get sewer to either one of these locations, the projects will not happen. So we've engaged the Economic Development Administration and the Northwest Regional Commission in regards to getting a grant. So we're going to apply for a federal grant that will pay for 80% of the sewer costs. That grant for the first project is due in June. The second grant will be one we apply for in September. And so if we can get the sewer there, we will see both of these projects move forward. So that's critical. A couple projects looking at the Paulding Commerce Park. Blake had mentioned one of those that we're working with. That project is actually Project GRIP, and that project is 300-plus jobs. And we are a finalist for that. So we're waiting to hear the next steps from the consultants, which actually should be later this week. So we'll have some marching orders from them, and hopefully it will be good news. We also have another project that came in about 2 weeks ago. That is a manufacturing project that would be what I would call similar to Enroll in terms of a center of excellence where they could bring folks in to see the product being made and have some showroom space. We're looking at about 150 jobs there, and a capital investment probably over $20 million. So I know that we're really the only location in Metro Atlanta that's being considered for it, and we're competing with one other state. The good news is this company's CEO lives in the Atlanta area, and so he would prefer to have something in Metro. So we'll see what happens with that, and the proposal should go out fairly soon. And then the last project that I wanted to mention is really the first project that I think the hospital and the presence of it has generated as far as medical. I have a company that has built 2 memory care facilities. Now, you'll see some assisted living facilities here that say they do memory care, but it's a small portion. This is a 100% memory care facility. It would be about 40 jobs and about a $10 or $11 million investment. These are real nice facilities, and they want to be within a mile of the hospital. And that is moving along fairly well at this point, and we should have something in the next month or so in terms of a definitive answer on that one. And then lastly, we just wrapped up a trip, a recruiting mission with the Metro Atlanta Chamber of Commerce's foreign direct investment director. We did a trip to the Interpack show in Germany, which is packaging and machinery. We went and met with a lot of the Italian companies that are very similar to Rocky, that are in that same position where they need a U.S. headquarters or they want a location in which they can manufacture the product. And so we were there for 3 days doing the show and meeting with those companies. We also took a side trip over to Poland, and we were in Warsaw meeting with a number of companies and site consultants working with Polish companies that have a need for next year to be in the U.S. So 2 companies that are very interested in coming to Atlanta. And so we got to meet with them, we got to meet with the site consultants, and then we also met with an aviation group and went to their conference while we were there that are looking to do MRO and more of the aircraft parts like the companies we already have here in Paulding. And so we're working with those folks. There's about 4 or 5 of those that have an interest in being in the U.S. because of Boeing and because of Airbus. So it was a good mission, and thanks to the Metro Atlanta Chamber of Commerce, who set up all those appointments in Poland for us, and then we kind of did our part on the packaging side for Interpack because of the relationships we have with those companies and with Rocky. So that's what we have going on. Any questions?
Any questions, Jamie? Thank you very much. Next, we move to section 3, approvals. The first one is to approve the design contract with Arcadis for design of a water line from the water tank to the corporate hangar. Blake?
We have a proposal was sent out to you in advance of the meeting for the design and project management administration and construction administration for the water line, fire flow line coming from the water tank down to the corporate hangar. This is a continuation of the water tank project, essentially. Arcadis designed the water tank. They did the preliminary concept work on getting the water line from the tank down to the hangar. And what this agreement does is it allows them to take the concept they previously designed and finish the engineering on that so that we can bid that out and construct it. Obviously, that line is required in order to feed the fire flow system for the hangar, so we need to get it going pretty quickly. There are 5 tasks in here: project management administration, fire main design, bid assistance, construction administration, and construction observation. The total cost of the proposal is not to exceed $23,690. So obviously the price is good. We have done a lot of work with Arcadis. They are experts in this type of work, so I'm very comfortable with them taking the concept through final design and construction. I'd like to get that approved today if we can.
Is there a motion on the contract?
I'll make a motion on the contract.
I have a motion to approve from Mayor Debbie. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Shipp. Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Approve repair work to be performed by Southern Associates on existing sewer lines at the Dallas Industrial Park.
This was also sent to you in advance for your review. This is basically a continuation, so to speak, of the sewer line outfall and lift station that were designed and built by Southern Associates. The lift station is essentially complete. The outfall line is complete. What we're having to do now is we're having to go back and test the existing sewer that was already in the development. So this portion of the sewer was designed and built years ago when the subdivision was developed. However, before we can make these lines active and have sewage flowing through them to the lift station, we have to test them in order to make sure that they are in good condition, make repairs, which we're already aware of many of the repairs that have to be made, and get them up to the city standards so that they can be accepted and put into service. So this includes plugging those lines, testing them, doing the leak detection and the repairs, and it's for a total not to exceed $20,700. Southern Associates, of course, has done all of the sewer work in the Dallas Industrial Park. They did the original design for the residential developer. They did the completion of the lift station, the outfall line, so obviously it makes the most sense to keep them out there. They can do this more economical than anyone else because they're the most familiar with it, and they know where the problems are already. So if there aren't any questions, I'd like to get this approved as well.
Is there a motion on the contract for the repair work?
I make a motion.
Have a motion by Mr. Underwood. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Wright. Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Passes unanimously. We do have a need to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing potential and pending litigation, I presume.
I think we have covered everything that we needed to cover previously that overlapped between the two authorities, so I think we're fine unless someone has a specific question that they'd like to ask in a closed session. I think we're okay with that today.
Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Have a motion by Chairman Austin. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Wright. Any discussion? All those in favor?